Tai galim pradėti tuomet.
Gerai. Tai aš gal tada pristatysiu lietuviškai. Aš esu dar viena anglų kalbos mokytoja. Aš esu iš Šiaulių, mokaus Vilniaus universitete anglų ir kitą užsienio kalbą norvegų. Dabar esu 3 kurse jau šitam besibaiginėjančiam ir tikiuosi, kad galėsiu kaip nors padėti, perteikti savo žinias, kurias sukaupiau ir šiaip kiek atsimenu, ką mokiausi egzaminų, iš kurio beje gavau 100, žinias perduoti jums ir galbūt kažko jūs išmokyti naujo, ko galbūt dar nežinot. Tai šiandienos tema yra Informal Letter Writing, kurią pristatysiu aš kartu su savo kolegė Rugilė ir manau, kad galim pradėti. Manau, kad kalbėsiu angliškai, nes daugelis turinio, iš tikrųjų visas turinys šitų skaidrių yra angliškas, tai patogiau bus tiesiog kalbėti angliškai, labiau, kad pavyzdžiai anglų kalbą parašyti. So, the structure of this consultation will consist of 4 parts. I will briefly cover what is the language of an informal letter, what kind of tone do you have to use. Secondly, we will cover paragraph structure, and we will give you examples and certain tips of how to write correctly and how to keep your informal letter structured. Then we will show comparison chart as to compare what has been told to you on the other lecture, which was about semi-formal and formal letter. And we will give you some examples and topics of this informal letter, which you can expect to get. Now, before we begin, I understand that informal letter might be something unexpected nowadays, because last time that informal letter was a task in an English exam. In an English exam was 2016. It was an informal letter for a friend, a pen pal, which asked to talk about your favorite advertisement. And now this really ongoing tendency to give semi-formal letters to write in an exam. However, it is still a part of exam, and no one can really guess what kind of informal or formal letter one is going to receive. So this is the reason why we must talk to you about informal letter structure and so on. Now, it may seem that there is nothing to talk about when we talk about informal letter, because we kind of expect that it will be easy to write, because topics are usually easy. As I said, there was a task about advertisement, and earlier there were tasks about healthy living, favorite activities, concerts, movies. So this is something that one does not even think of preparing themselves, of writing. However, informal letter has a reason of being a task in exam, because I believe the main reason of that is to check whether a student knows the difference between formal, semi-formal, and informal letter writing structures and rules. So therefore, I'm going to present you the language of an informal letter. So as you know, informal letters are written in a casual but still polite manner. The best example would be to let you imagine that you are writing a letter to your friend, but that friend is someone from a foreign country, and maybe someone that you do not know that well. Because when I think, well, if I should write a letter to a certain person, I would still want to be polite. So that's why the structure and this language tone is needed. As you know, contractions are allowed, as contrary to semi-formal and formal letters. you are encouraged to use contractions as given here in examples I'm, your, haven't, shouldn't, and so on, because in this case you will show the examiner that you know the difference between informal and semi-formal formal letter. The tone of language should be personal. That means that you are writing to a friend, and at all times it is really clearly identified that you should write a letter to a friend or a pen pal. In any other case, you should write a semi-formal or formal letter. Informal letter also consists of writing in such a manner that a potential reader of that letter should understand that you are writing as you think. It means that you have a lot of short words like oh, anyway, and it means that you're being sincere, you're being honest. That means you know this person really well, and that recipient of your letter is a friend. And lastly, you should use informal expressions. That means every phrase that you should not use in semi-formal formal letter, you can use in informal letter. So that means write back soon, thanks for. You see that there's not thank you or whatever. It is shortened version of thanks. And I will give you some more examples in further slides. Now we get to paragraph structure. However, you need to remember certain things that are fixed, and you should follow those fixed rules. You start with an opening formula, which is always here. You write a name that has been indicated in the task, which is also a pretty normal thing to do in informal letter task. And then, of course, you write a name. Now, you should write a really short paragraph, which is called introductory paragraph, where you explain why are you writing. You can thank for previous letter if it is indicated that you have received a letter from someone, and you got a letter from someone that is your friend or pen pal. But that is a really short paragraph, and that sometimes is indicated in as a subtask, as a bullet point in an exam, but it's not always the case. However, introductory paragraph should find a place in your informal letter, and there you write what are you going to write about. I will let you know about something, I'll describe something to you, I'll tell you a story, a memory, or whatever. It's just a short introduction. Now, subtask number 1 and subtask number 2 correlate to the bullet points that you have to cover. It is a clear indication of those points, and you should dedicate one bullet point to one subtask. That means to one paragraph. There's one thing that you should write about, for example, describe your favorite advertisement. Then you write what is about that advertisement. What did you see? How did it look? And so on. And the second subtask indicated in the second bullet point will be something like, why did you like that advertisement, for example? And then you write in the second paragraph, why did you find this advertisement interesting? And then we write a closing paragraph, which would be a nice chance to write that short phrase, oh, I have to go now. Anyway, I should stop here. Again, indication of your knowing that it is an informal letter written to a friend. And closing formula, that is always a short fixed phrase, which is best regards, lots of love, warm regards, and so on, which is written in another line from the closing paragraph. And then also a signature, only if the task asks you to, of course. When I was writing it was semi-formal letter, in my exam in 2018, there was no indication of a name that I should write. So you just write sincerely, comma, and then you write nothing. Of course, it is also important to mention that there is really not a lot of space given in those tasks, just kind of lines indicated, and you don't have a lot of space to write in. So my tip would be, my advice would be to not skip a line between those parts that are indicated by numbers. It means you write dear something, and then you leave a space of, I don't know, 2 fingers, as it was indicated to me when I was in school, and then you write. You do not skip a whole line, because else you will get, you may run out of space generally. So it's enough to indicate that with a short spacing of 2 fingers, so that you show the examiner that where is each paragraph. So that would be it about paragraph structure. Now I will talk about the beginning of an informal letter in a more close-up way. So as I mentioned, opening formula is always dear something, dear Amy, dear Matt. And then there is also a spacing, but as I mentioned, it is enough to do a small spacing with 2 fingers or so. Then these are examples for introductory paragraph. The first two examples indicate that a letter was received by you. It means the task indicated you got a letter from a friend, you received a letter. So you write such phrases: it's great to hear from you, it's awesome to hear from you, thanks for your letter. Of course, indication of thanks, not thank you, because you show that you know that it's an informal letter. You can ask, how are they doing, how things are going, and so on. Just a simple phrase that you would write to a friend. Maybe they told you something, they described something, then you write, it was interesting to find out, it was interesting to know. And then you write certain phrases about that indicate that what are you going to talk about. So let me tell you about something. I'm writing to tell you something. This example is more suitable to a letter that asks you to give a task that asks you to give advice. This was never the case of an English exam here in Lithuania. However, one should expect such letters at all times. So you just indicate that I hope you're doing well, or something like that. I hope you're okay. I'm sorry to hear that. And you indicate what has been written in the task. And then let me give you some advice. So I hope you're doing well and I hope you're okay is also a significant and very useful phrase when you have not received a letter, but you are the first one who's writing. Okay, now we are moving to subtasks, which is the main part, and you have to cover the bullet points that are indicated in the task. So this is just one example from the exam about healthy living. So as you can see, there is written, thank your friend for her letter. It means that you have to understand that is introductory part, the same small paragraph where you thank for the letter and tell in short, what are you going to write about? And as we can see, there are 2 bullet points. That means you have to write 2 paragraphs. So the first one is to describe what you do to keep fit and healthy. Give at least 2 things. So of course you have to stick to that rule and follow what is being said to you. That means you have to write 2 things as indicated. So it is best to begin without saying, firstly, first of all, and then to begin second paragraph with secondly, or so on. These structures are rather more suitable for semi-formal letters or formal letters. And when you're writing to a friend, you want to be more honest. So in this way, I have given you an example when you simply begin in order to keep myself fit. Or, I don't know, any other example could be suitable. Just in any case, it is not that recommended to write firstly, first of all, and so on. Then you describe something that has been going on in your life that is keeping you fit and healthy. And as there is indicated that you have to give at least 2 examples, you can write such linking words as in addition, furthermore, and so on. Furthermore is more suitable for semi-formal or formal letters nowadays, I think, but in addition is quite suitable. You have to remember to not write really, really long essays of your, I don't know, things that you are asked to write about, because there's really, really small, not a lot of space given in exam paper. So the second subtask is to tell your friend how important it is for young people to lead a healthy life. You can kind of generalize here and say overall, because you're kind of expressing your own opinion and your own thoughts and not describing something. So it just kind of reminds me of writing an essay in this case, but you still use contracted forms. You still use, you can use exclamation mark. You can use also question mark as for rhetorical questions. So you indicate that you're understand it as informal letter. All right, I think that is I told you all about this example. Now let me move to the second part, which is the same main part, but it's another example. So I have mentioned that it was a topic in 2016 to talk about the advertisement. I thought that this example might be suitable and useful to show, because there are 3 subtasks, 3 bullet points given. However, it is not indicated that you should thank your friend. Of course, you understand that introductory part is still necessary and you thank your friend in any way. If you are the one who's got the letter first, you should always thank. However, there are 3 subtasks, bullet points, and you can see that the first and the second one look kind of similar, because write about where you saw the advertisement. It could consist of only 1 sentence, so it's not a paragraph. 1 sentence is not enough for paragraph, only if it's closing remark or opening remark. So then you can come up to a decision to combine these 2 points and write these two things in 1 paragraph. So as you can see, I've given an example here. First, you indicate that advertisement has really caught my eye and was displayed at a bus stop, and the poster was advertising this and that. And the third point, you are writing about in the second main part paragraph. So again, you're using contracted forms, and you're just kind of being honest to your friend. The last example is about free time activities. It is indicated that you should thank your friend for her letter, and of course it is introductory part, so you do not write that in the main part of your informal letter. So you choose to write 2 paragraphs of main part in this case. You describe what you do in your free time, at least 2 activities again, so you write about 2 activities. Again, I chose to not begin with the words first and firstly. So you just write one of the main activities that I do in my leisure time. My leisure time consists of such activities, and so on. So it's more suitable and more honest in this way. And the third bullet point is covered in the second paragraph of main part of your informal letter. You could also write also, in addition, and so on. So just kind of really being you're just writing what you want in this case. You begin as you wish and do not write firstly, secondly, and so on. Just kind of being creative as well as polite and understanding the rules of an informal letter. Now we are moving to the end of an informal letter, so closing remarks could consist of two really short sentences. You can use short words as well, as for example, well, anyway, so, and so on. Just kind of an indication that I have to go. That's it for now. I'm finishing this letter. And these are really good examples of what closing remarks, closing paragraph could consist of. Well, that's all for now. Please write back soon. It's a really common phrase. I'm looking forward to meeting you, looking forward to hearing from you again. Yeah, those three examples are pretty suitable, especially when you show that you know that it's informal letter and you indicate contracted forms and short words as well. This is also a different paragraph which you write apart from closing formula and the last paragraph of the main part. I hope it's comprehensible of what I'm talking about. So, and in the second line, right after closing remarks, you write a closing formula. You can learn one and use one at all times. Just learn one that you would use in a semi-formal formal letter and the other one that you would use in informal letter. So my favorite one would be regards, best regards, warm regards. There's something that you would write out of heart, sincerely, and so on. However, another phrase is really common, which is sincerely. And this one really indicates that you are sincere to a person. So it's kind of, if it helps you to remember such closing formulas, sincerely is used in informal letter because you are sincere to your friend. You are honest, without any acting up or pretending, as it is explained in Cambridge Dictionary, I believe. Sincere is without something done without predicting, without pretending. I'm sorry. And then the other one, which you might know, is faithfully. Yours faithfully. Yours sincerely. Just two examples. Yours sincerely is used in informal letters, and yours faithfully is used in formal letter. And as I've checked, it is used because it's a shortened form of a phrase, I am your faithful servant, I believe, which is really funny, but a useful thing to remember. So you use yours faithfully to someone you don't know, or someone you respect, really, someone you respect in general. So you use yours sincerely, or any of those closing formulas that you wish to use, and you at all times you use yours faithfully in formal letter. I believe it will be covered in the comparison chart. Also, do not write your name anytime. It is forbidden, because then you would reveal your identity. Unless it is written, sign your email as Alex Brown or whatever other name. So you leave space for that and write that right under closing formula. So I believe that's all. And now I give the floor to my colleague Rugile.
So hello everyone. This is Rugile. And I think a comparison chart is really useful, as you can see what is the difference between formal, semi-formal, and informal letter. So greeting differs in a way that in a formal letter or semi-formal, you need to use dear Mr., dear Mrs. Plus surname, or dear Sir, Madam, while in informal letter, you just write dear and the name of the friend you're writing to. And in introductory paragraphs, as you can see in formal, semi-formal letters, you say, thank you for your letter. I am writing to request information about. I am writing to inform. While in informal letter, you can use contractions, as Inessa mentioned before. So thanks for your letter. It was great to hear from you. I'm writing to tell you how are things with you. So you kind of are allowed to ask questions like how are things with you? How are you doing? How was your exams, etc. And also, it is more personal type of the letter, so you can express your feelings or emotions in a more obvious way, which it's not really good in a formal or semi-formal letter. For the main part, it differs in a way that formal, semi-formal letter contain phrases such as I would be grateful if, I would like to know whether, much to my disappointment, much to my surprise. And in informal letter, you would say, I'd love for you to do something. I'd love for you to go to the movies or something like this. Can you believe it? It's also contains, I believe, a lot of emotions. Something big happened and you want your friend to, you want to discuss it with your friend. So you just ask this question, can you believe it? I was shocked to find out. So as I said before, informal letter allows you to use verbs, adjectives, or any other word class that express strong emotional feelings. So while in formal letter, you would not be able to use words as shocked. In informal letter, you are free to use any kind of words that let other person to understand that you are, how are you feeling. And yes, so for the recipient of the letter differs also in those formal, semi-formal, and informal. So for formal letter, you usually write to an organizer of some event, manager, it can be your boss, or even the company itself, or to someone that you don't really know or you have a lot of respect for. While in informal letter, you write to a friend or a pen pal or someone you know really well and can refer to them by their first name. In closing remarks, it also differs in a way that for formal or semi-formal letter, you would use, I look forward to hear from you. I hope to hear from you at your earliest convenience. I am writing for your response. While in informal, you use such phrases as hope to hear from you soon, write back soon, I can't wait to meet you, I have to go now, and etc. So here you see that it's also really personal, not formal, and it's something like you talk to a friend in real life. So it also kind of gives a feeling of this friendship in a letter. And for signature, formal or semi-formal letters use such yours faithfully. If you don't know the person's surname, yours sincerely if you know the name. And for informal, you usually use your sincerely, best regards, and other examples, as Inessa mentioned in the previous slide. So I believe now we can move on to, we can move on to the examples. Well, it's not examples, it's possible topics. So here you're asked to write a personal letter, to give news, explain your ideas with certain details, express your emotions, describe events or your experience on certain things or events or emotions. And yes, so you have two options for this kind of task. You can write an informal letter regarding to your own personal experiences and description of them, or you can also write semi-formal letter asking for giving information. So for the letter, you can be asked to tell some kind of maybe a story about see something that you have seen, experienced, or a book that you have read, or an event you've attended, music, any kind of thing that the organizers of the exam might think of. You might need to tell some kind of story or explain it. Why did you like it, etc. Another thing is you can be asked to describe something. So, for example, a person, a new friend of yours, a place that you have recently visited or you would love to visit, an event, a concert, a meeting, which is now really rare due to COVID, or an experience that you gather through the years. Another type that you might receive is in giving information or explaining. So also about events that have passed or are in the present or that will be in the future, or certain things as well as books, movies, anything. So you really need to look into the task, as also Inessa stressed a few times in her part of presentation. So in the tasks, it's always mentioned what you are expected to do with the information given, and yes, so. The intention of such letters is to inform, explain, explain your ideas, your experience, to express your opinion on certain things, or also you can ask to receive information, request information, or ask a friend to give her opinion on certain books, movies, feelings, or certain events. So yes, also you can write to a friend to invite him to a birthday party or to a concert because you don't have any other friend to go with, etc. So now we move on to examples. So here we have an example of an invitation. So dear Mary, this is, as I mentioned in the comparison part, you just use dear Mary and comma, and you start your letter. I hope you are doing well. As you know, my birthday is coming up. We are planning to have a party and I'm writing to invite you along. It's on 2nd of July at our place starting at 1 p.m. So in this first paragraph, the reason why the person is writing to Mary is stated, and the reason is that that the person's birthday is coming up, so the writer wants to invite her. And on the second, in the second paragraph, can you believe that I am 20 years old? I wanted to celebrate it with a friendly company. That's why I'm really looking forward to seeing you here. So here, as well as the kind of a stronger expression, can you believe that I'm 20 years old? So it's really informal. I want to celebrate it with a friendly company. That's why I'm really looking forward to seeing you here. So in this paragraph, you just basically tell your idea, not ideas, but your feelings about this this event, and that you're really excited about that friend participating in it. And the third paragraph, we are lucky that the quarantine restrictions have been finally lifted. We plan to arrange a nice lunch if the weather allows us, a trip to the nearby lake as well. So here you tell where you're going to have a party, all the details of it. And it also does not need to be really planned. So as here mentions, if the weather allows us, maybe a trip to the nearby lake. So then you, for the last closing paragraph, you say that would be all. Write me back as soon as you can. So you can also use a phrase such as, I have to go now. I am looking forward to your answer, and I hope that you can participate, or something like this. And then you sign off with kind regards, or yours sincerely, or others examples that were given in the slides before. And one more time to mention, you do not write your name unless the task gives you a special name, or gives you a task to think of some name to sign off your letter. Now, another example is an apology example. So here as well, you just write dear Mark, comma, and then you start your paragraphs. So I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing to inform you that I won't be able to attend your birthday party this Sunday. I know how important it is to you. So here you start a sentence with the, I hope this letter finds you well. So you have to have some kind of an introduction into the whole letter itself. And it is an apology because a person cannot attend a birthday party. And yes, so for the second paragraph, he explains the reason why he cannot attend the birthday party with such sentences. Unfortunately, my boss called this evening and said that I am expected to show up at work today. I'm afraid there is nothing I can do. So he or she expresses the idea that there is something really important that he has to do, and that he's really sorry about that, but there is nothing he can do about it. And for the last paragraph, he just wishes to have a wonderful time, and that he will kind of still arrange dinner on Sunday to celebrate his birthday party. And then he mentions that, asks a question, would you be able to meet me then? And for signing off. Once again, I'm really sorry. I hope to see you soon. So he apologizes once again, and then signing off, best wishes. So in these examples, you can see that in one paragraph, there is no more than 3 sentences, and they are really, really short and straight to the point. As also Inessa mentioned before, there is not so much space given for the letter, and it's the smallest part of written task. So as I looked through a National Examination Center, there is only 80 words for you to write. So you need to be really straight with your points, and try, if you get an informal letter, try to use contractions as much as possible, and also don't spread too much into explanations, ideas, and other things, because the amount of things you need to write, it's quite big compared to the words you have. So yes, stay to the point and explain everything with short sentences, and try to use contractions anywhere that is possible, so you save up place and you save up words as well. Maybe Nessa can change the slide if there is another one.
I think that's it. That would be it.
Okay, so then we are finished. Yes, so once again, we are mentioning it. If anyone is going to watch this kind of tutorial or class, that if you have any questions, we are in the same group in Messenger, so you can just write us a private message, or yes, just feel free, and I hope this is helpful. Yes, so that would be it. I guess I can stop the recording unless Inessa wants to say something.
Yeah, I also agree that I really hope it was helpful. And if you have any questions, you can write to us in the group or hit us up personally. That would be no problem to me, at least.
Yes, so okay, I'm stopping recording, and yes.